Thank you for dialing in, everybody, and making time to join us today. Welcome to the Sneak Peek webinar, which is a session which will be featured at the 2016 NAA Education Conference and Exposition. The webinar is about staying power and engagement, recruitment and retention, deconstruction. For the first time, the 2016 NAA Education Conference and Exposition will be held in beautiful San Francisco, and we can't wait to make the city by the bay our home. We're certain that San Francisco's unique energy and welcoming spirit will infuse every aspect of the event, bringing networking and learning opportunities and making our gathering more worthwhile than ever before. We anticipate more than 9,200 apartment housing industry professionals in an exciting and collaborative environment. The conference is just a little more than 2 weeks away, but there's still plenty of time to register if you haven't. You can find full details on registration, hotel accommodations, group pricing, and the full education program by visiting the conference website at the URL on your screen. And now, I'd like to introduce you to today's outstanding speakers. Patty Morgan Seeger is president of Seeger Marketing. She is also the manager and owner and investor of over 300 units. Patty is a personable and thought-provoking national speaker and trainer with expertise in marketing, sales and leasing, and training in the advertising and multifamily industry, having held positions that include leasing professional, community manager, regional director, marketing and training director, and the national sales trainer. Patty is known for her enthusiasm, professionalism, and unique ability to inspire clients to achieve their highest potential. Lori Snyder serves as the Director of Education and Team Experience for Red Peak, providing strategic educational and recruitment direction for the entire company and overseeing all facets of the team member experience. Lori brings 30 years of multifamily experience to Red Peak, including 15 years running her own successful company as an educator, platform speaker, and experienced management consultant. A premier expert on sales and service trends, Lori is a frequent national conference presenter at NAA, MFE, and other places. Lori, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. Welcome to you both.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And we're so happy to be here today because as we gather information and get ready for our session, you know, we have been finding that our perceptions are being expanded in regard to engagement, retention, and recruitment. And so today we want to share just a little bit of what we're finding with you and what we're going to share in our session at NAA. So one of the first things that we're going to talk about is to really think about answering the question, why should I want to work for you? And are people easily able to find that? So, obviously recruitment is, a big issue for most companies, and trying to find quality people, can have a huge impact on the bottom line. We spend vast amounts of money trying to attract quality residents, and our websites are full of photos and videos and design that speaks to that desired renter. And then we get to the company career page. And that's where things sort of fall apart and start to get, dull. Recruitment is nothing more than marketing. And we need to answer the question that potential hire is asking. Why should I? Why should I continue on and spend time filling out an application? Why would I want to work for you? Patty, is really an expert in this. And what are some things that might make a potential hire want to take that next steps with you?
Oh, wow. Great question, Lori. Yes, I am in the field quite often, and I do onboarding for several companies on a regular basis. And it's really interesting, some of the comments that the new team members make first day of the onboarding class. And I always curiously ask them that question. So what made you want to be here today? How would you answer the question today if I said to you, why should you want to work for us? And I think the perfect example, and I wrote this down to share with you, is a recent new team player at a company, and this is what he had to say. He said, based on the research I've done with your company, I see your company as an industry leader. When I visited your website, I found some impressive information about future projects you've planned. That's awesome. I think everyone wants to know what the company has planned in the funnel. I found some impressive information about the founder's background and the current financial situation of the company. Again, I think that's important. This is the company I've been looking for, is what this young man said. A place where my background, experience, and skills can be put to use and make things happen. Isn't that amazing? So I guess the question I have to folks in the field and at corporation level or executive level is, what kind of information or substance do you have floating around out there that gives a candidate the ability to answer that question with finesse and enthusiasm? So I also think, I don't know, Lori, what do you think? I think it's important, too, to ask your current team players, you know, if you would review this information, thoughtfully answer the question. You know, would it answer your question of, why should I want to work for this company?
Yeah. Are you giving them a glimpse? You know, are you giving them a glimpse of what it's really like to work there? And I think people are looking at that, because what I'm finding as I interview people, and I interview a lot of people, is that they really are doing their research. They'll reference video. They will actually quote our website. And, you know, and the things that resonated with them. And so I think it's really important to, are you sharing that glimpse? Are you sharing that this is what this is all about, and this is why you should want to work for us? And
so really, I think what we're saying collectively is, you know, job descriptions are typically what you see on the website in those areas. And, you know, although that's great, I think that, you know, it's time to take a second look, you know, at what we're currently doing for marketing and refreshing a bit.
And, you know, when we talk about team members, you know, it's in recruitment, it's really important that you're sharing your special sauce as a company. One of the things that we found is that, you know, long-term players really love their jobs. And so we include them in marketing for new team members. And what that does is it allows those potential hires to see and get a feel for actual team members who work there. And it sort of entices them to become part of our special sauce.
That's awesome. And I'm sure that
and it's really kind of nice, because you see those real people that work there, and it gives you a glimpse. So.
And if they love what they do, which I'm sure they do at your company, then, you know, to be in front of those folks really gives you a great idea of, you know, their enthusiasm, and they shine, which is priceless, right?
Yeah, and we've got lots. We're going to do this, and go ahead. We talk over each other a lot, Patty and I.
That's all right, Lori. Go ahead.
So, you know, we're going to share a lot more about this, right? And we've got tons of ideas. So come to NAA and see us.
Well, and we're going to provide examples and concepts both inside and outside the industry in this regard, as this is an area where most companies can benefit from improvement. So you know, we're really super excited about this part, right, Lori?
Yeah, this is like my favorite part, really.
Yeah, one of mine too. I think it's going to be awesome.
Whoopsie, I skipped a slide. Okay, so let's, you know, one of the things that we've been talking a lot about as we you know, put this presentation together are perks, you know, and we've been asking a lot of questions like, do they really matter? You know, and what is important? And, you know, when it comes to attracting millennials, you know, 3 in 5 say that benefits are an important part of that decision-making process. You know, useful to millennials is the new cool, and it's also the new essential. You know, what we're finding is that creative companies are doing away with those props. And I put a foosball table here because I think a foosball table is sort of a prop, you know. It's not going to keep people happy at your company, the foosball table in the office, right? It's just there as a prop to say, hey, aren't we cute? Aren't we cool? And so they're doing away with the props and really starting to provide perks that are both personal and purposeful in their approach. So if you remember nothing else from this session, remember purposeful and personal. For example, one company I ran across, and this is outside our industry but could be easily applied to ours given the number of people that we have that come out of college and into the workforce, is student loan help. They're actually helping them to pay back their student loans. You know, REI, I know, isn't that great? Like, it makes so much sense because they're coming out so strapped. And REI does this thing called Yay Days, and what they do is they give you 2 days a year, and it's basically just to promote your well-being. You know, go hiking, spend some time outdoors, get some fresh air, and you get that 2 days a year to just take a Yay Day. So, you know, what does that really do to your bottom line? It makes people more effective at work. You know, it lets them go explore themselves and, you know, work on their health and well-being, so they're going to be, you know, better performers at work. So, you know, those are a couple of the ones that I've run across. Patty, what have you been seeing?
Well, this one's new. I haven't even shared this with you yet, Lori, but I thought this was cool. There's a company called Scripps Health out of industry, of course, and they actually offer pet insurance for Fluffy and Boo Boo.
Wow.
In other words, your pets. Now, have you heard that one? I thought that was really cool. And
no, but I love it because, yeah.
And it's not just millennial. I mean, that's across the board. Everybody loves their pets, and pet insurance is a big thing, right? Yeah. Yeah. And then the other thing that I thought was really cool, that some of the companies now are giving enhanced employee perks to team players who hit significant milestones in their company. So that rewards them for their loyalty. I think that's really cool. Talk about, you know, the ability to retain great team players. So it might be something like additional paid time off or an option to take a sabbatical. I love that idea. Isn't that great? And then I have one that, you know, how many of you, I'm sure all of you, are probably using swag in some way or another. Do you have swag, Lori?
Yeah, we've got some swag. It's good swag, though. I mean, it is good swag.
It is good swag.
And we just give it
and we're
to
gonna
people.
Talk about
we don't like,
too.
It's not really a perk, you know.
We're going to really have some good examples of good swag and not so good swag, right, Lori? Just for fun? So anyway, I was telling Lori, I was going over my presentation, and I had a friend who popped in and said, oh, let me see what you're working on. And she said, well, here's one for you. And she said, my husband works at J.P. Morgan Chase. And she said, get this. So they just incorporated this not too long ago. Instead of a bonus or money, they're now what I call swag overload. So what she said is, instead of the money, they get to go to a room that's equipped with all the swag of the company and pick out an item, a swag item. And although
so instead of a bonus, idea, they have to pick out swag?
Do a trip to the swag room, yeah. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. I love the swag, I do. And I think swag's great and it's appropriate, but I think that perhaps it's being viewed as a little bit of swag overload, if you will.
Yeah.
Interesting,
give me my bonus. That's what I would say to that.
Yeah. So I think that you have to find a nice balance with the swag and the perks. Don't you agree?
I agree. I agree completely.
So yeah, and we'll get more detail about that.
Yeah, and we could go on all day about this because it really is like a big deal right now, and how to really identify what those perks should look like, and we've got many ideas. So, Patty, what time are we talking at NAA?
Oh, our session is actually going to be featured June 16th from 10:15 to 11:15. So that's a great time, great spot for us, and we're real excited to see everyone there. Thank you.
Mark your calendars. Mark your calendars now. It's going to be busy, and NAA, you know, is such a ginormous, is such a ginormous conference. What happened there? Okay. I get so excited I go forward too fast. So let's talk just for a real quick moment about onboarding. And you know how purposeful and personal, those words again, is your onboarding process. You know, at many organizations, onboarding processes seem to have a common theme. You know, it's all about indoctrinating new employees into the organizational culture. We indoctrinate you. You know, we talk about how to build and retain talent by, focusing on how important it is to get those employees to understand and commit to your company values from day one. And, it does allow the learner, your new team members, to conform and really to fit in. But there's kind of a problem with that, and especially with millennials. Now we're moving more to organizational values, from rather than being taught and adopted, rather we want to encourage newcomers to express their own unique perspectives and to really understand their strengths and what they bring in order to frame their jobs on what they do best. So, for example, a new leasing professional that is really good at making connections could be that go-to person for outreach. And there's lots of resources that are available today that we'll talk about in our session to help determine up front what your new hires will be good at, and we'll share a lot of those in our session and kind of show you how to help them discover their strengths so that you can develop onboarding that works to enhance those strengths and really helps them be their best selves.
Those are great points. I agree with you.
And I don't think that. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't think that this is, it doesn't need to be rocket science, right, Patty? Because we were talking about this the other day.
Right.
And so how do we do that?
Well, I think, I love the text on our slide here. Is your focus compliant or buy-in? I think that sometimes we get a little overzealous in that onboarding week or two of, process with our new team players, and it can be overwhelming. So I think, again, you have to have a nice balance. And I think it could be as simple as asking each new team player in a group, so write down the top 10 strengths you think you have. And then, what do you think your contribution to this company is going to be? What's it going to look like? What do you aspire to? What are you thinking? And back to our previous slide, gosh, if you have great information out there in your recruiting side of your websites and your marketing, they're going to have a great idea and a good sense of what they're going to bring to the table, right?
How they can contribute, right?
Yeah, and how inspirational would that be to be able to share that with others in your group?
Right. And, I really believe that the days of the traditional corporate training information dump are gone. I think that, putting someone in a room for a week and working through a checklist, just to check off the checklist, nobody's learning anything. And, Patty, what do you think?
Oh, I think you're spot on. Again, I think you have to have a nice balance, because I know that, from the analytical side, we do have process, and, there are legal, things that you need to make sure everybody is complying with. But, here's the deal. We've been doing our research, as we mentioned. So it's impossible for learners and us humans to focus on a task for an extended period of time without pause. I don't know about you guys, but I have noticed it's all over the board. It doesn't matter what your age is anymore. Our ability to stay focused, right, is getting smaller and smaller. And that's because of the ebb and flow of our energy. So psychologically, your neurons are keen and alert for, who wants to guess? No more than 20 consecutive minutes. Now think about that, 20 consecutive minutes. So what does that tell us? At the end of those 20 minutes, your neurons have gone from full-fledged alert to total collapse. Wow. And this is interesting. It takes 2 to 3 minutes for those neurons to be completely recovered and back to the total alert state. 2 to 3 minutes.
Wow.
So if you break longer than 3 minutes, you've redirected everyone's attention. I think that's outstanding information, don't you, as a trainer?
Well, yeah, and plus, plus today's learners are, literally swimming in a sea of information.
Yes.
They're inundated all day long with data from their iPhones and from their laptops and from, LinkedIn and from Facebook and wherever else they're being drawn, residents. And so I think that it's really not surprising that most people find this traditional sort of training overwhelming today. We've talked about how you've had people crying, because it's just too much for them.
Yeah, and it's not good when someone's in your class during the onboarding week, and they get emotional because they're overwhelmed. So Yeah, so I just think we need to kind of take a look at rethinking some of the things we're doing and adapting to some new ways to try. And, Lori, you and I talked, you don't have to jump in the pond, but you can, dabble your toe in the pond.
Right.
Start it,
right? Right. Yeah. No more rigid schedule. Start there. You know what I mean? Start there. Learning learning cannot be, an 8 to 5 thing. It's like learning will continue on, and learning will be ongoing, and small chunks of information. Small chunks.
Right.
It's kind of like the other day I was talking to somebody, and we tend to get so carried away with trying to give them all the information they need. And it's like we were standing at this touch screen, and we started going over all the things you could do with the touch screen. And I thought, and I watched this girl's face just change, and she was like, I have no idea what you're even talking about. And I finally stopped and I said, so here's what I want you to do. I want you literally to figure out how to make the floor plan move with your finger.
Awesome.
That's all.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to make the pictures move, right? Let's just start there, right? Because we forget that people don't have the first clue, and we take them from A to Z in, 20 easy seconds, and nothing sticks. So, chunk it up. We've got this new thing that I kind of coined. I'm like, cut it, chunk it, change it up. Cut your training in half. Cut the content a little bit. Chunk it. Give it to them in little bite-sized pieces, and change up the way that we're expecting delivery. And I think that can really make a big difference. And we'll talk more about this in our session.
And it's fun. Fun. You got to have fun, right?
Yeah.
People learn and retain longer when they're fun, when it's playful, yes?
Right, exactly.
Memorable.
So, in the scheme of fun, we have a little video that Patty found that I think is nice, and it's going to be a little slow-mo, but we'll show it in live and living color.
You'll get the gist.
In our session.
Yeah.
But you'll get the gist of kind of what we're talking about. So it's just a fun little.
And this is a recent John Deere commercial. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Can we hear it?
Can you hear it? I hope you can hear it. They may be able to hear it. If not, we may have to sing. Go to YouTube. Find it's not how fast you mow. It's how well you mow.
It's how well you mow.
That's right.
Hopefully the sound is coming through, right?
I hope so.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. If it didn't come through, it's not how fast you mow, it's about how well you mow. And we felt as if this is a really appropriate video and speaks volumes to about the very talking points that Lori and I are going to cover in our presentation on Thursday, June 16th. Everybody got that? From 10:15 to 11:15. And gosh, we just both want to take this opportunity to personally invite you to our session and just ask you, won't you join us? Because we promise it'll be entertaining and fun, and you'll walk away with some really, really good information, real-world things that you can go back and implement. Right,
yes,
Lori?
and we promise to make it relevant to you.
Yes, absolutely. And I would say thank you again to NAA for allowing us this opportunity to preview our session. How fun is this, right?
Thanks to both you, Lori and Patty, for the wealth of information that you shared today. This team is going to continue the conversation at the conference in San Francisco. And remember, you can see the whole version of their content on Thursday, June the 16th at 10:15.
Yay!
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 If you're not already, register for the event using the link on the slide that we showed you earlier. This webinar has been recorded, and it's going to be posted to the event website. You're going to receive a follow-up email with a link to the recording so that you can have access to today's information. We look forward to seeing you in San Francisco. Thanks again. Huge thanks to Patty Morgan-Seeger and Lori Snyder.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, have a great holiday.